Welcome back to Matt's Investing Corner. And in this episode, we're going to talk about AMG Critical Materials. They released their Q2 earnings recently, and I'll be diving into some of the numbers and to see if this is still an attractive investment or not. So let's deep dive into the numbers from their second quarter. So in front of you, you have the report. Let me quickly go through it. So AMG reported a revenue growth of 439 million in Q2 25, increase of 20% compared to the Q2 numbers of 24 of a revenue of 364. That's a year-on-year growth of 20%, which is quite positive and very good. Next is a Q2 25. They had the adjusted EBITDA of close to 71 million, which was a 79% increase year over year over the Q2 24 adjusted EBITDA of 39 million, largely due to very strong performance by the technology segment. If we look at the net income attributable to shareholders for Q2 25, this was 12 million. And compared to the 11 million net loss in Q2 24, this is a strong recovery in profitability, which was driven by, again, the AMG technology segment. And what you can see as well is the third quarter in a row whereby there is a positive number coming. So on the quarterly revenue drivers, this has been split between lithium, vanadium, and technology sector. Let's go over lithium. So lithium in Q2 25 had a revenue of 37 million, which was a decline compared to last year, 38. The adjusted gross profit went slightly up to 3.8 versus 3.7 in the last year. What you can see as a key drivers is that the price of spodumene went down, the volume went down, tantalum the price went up, and the volume went down. If you look at vanadium, we can see that the revenue was 161 million, whereas a year ago this was 168 million. Where if you look at the gross profit, 22.4 million versus a year ago 24.8. So there's a decline in gross profit. What you can see here is that the key drivers is of vanadium, the price went up, volume went down. Chrome, the price went up, volume remained the same, and titanium alloys, the price remained the same and volume went down. If we look at technologies, then you can see that the revenue was reported with 241 million. Versus a year ago, this was 158 million. So that's a huge jump, I would say, in revenue that you can see in the technology sector. And this is something that you can see also in the gross profit, whereby you see a 71.1 million in gross profit, whereas a year ago this was 32. So there's a jump of around 40 million. What are the key drivers? From what I can see, well, the graphite price remained the same, volume dropped. Silicon, the price remained the same, volume dropped. But we can see that in the anti-money, the price went up and the volume went down, and the engineering book to bill went also down. So let's go into a bit more detail. On the cash flow and working capital, we can see that the cash used from operating activities was in the last quarter 6.3. If you compare that to previous year quarter, there's a year-on-year 3 million increase actually, or improvement, because there it was 9.3. On the net debt, you can see that AMG has even more debt versus a year ago. Their net debt is now 502.3 million. That's an increase of 49 million year on year. On the annualized ROCE, you can see a increase year on year due to largely higher profitability of 14.9%, which is a really nice increase what you can see here over the last 5 quarters. Working capital in days remains the same year on year, as on both is 19 days. So this is the part that I find most interesting to hear also from AMG. What is their outlook? So On their outlook, they split it up between capital expenditures, and AMG is targeting 75 to 100 million of capital expenditures in 25. They're also stating that AMG is at the end of a period of significant capital intensity that positions us for strong profitability as market prices improved. So they invested a lot in the last couple of years, and they basically are saying that they're at their end of their cycle, and hopefully this investment is going to pay out for the shareholders of AMG. So regarding the adjusted EBITDA, they expect an adjusted EBITDA to exceed 200 million in 2025. If I take the last year's numbers, I can see that the EBITDA for 2024 was in 168. So they're now saying that for Q2, for this year, 2025, basically they're gonna reach the 200. So they're already in the first two quarters with 128. I believe they're gonna beat this 200 relatively easy, because they're already at 130 now, and that means that only 70 million needs to be done in the next two quarters, and only in Q2 this 70 million was already hit. So I believe it will they will reach more than 200 in EBITDA. Let the time tell us, and let them report in the following quarters. Regarding the AMG 5-year guidance, at normalized market prices, we guide an EBITDA of 500 million or more in 5 years or earlier. So that would be more than doubling what they're actually expecting for 2025. So that's something that is nice to hear. Potentially also likely when all the projects are gonna finalize and ramp up, and especially when lithium and vanadium prices are gonna fully recover. Talking about lithium and vanadium prices, I just wanted to show you what I can see in some of the graphs of all the prices in the last couple of months in 2025. What you can see that the price of lithium has been at the end of 24 relatively stable, and then starting from April a decline of the price fell in June, whereby you're talking about numbers of 60,000 CNI per ton, whereas in the months before it was about 75, ranging between 70 and almost 80,000 CNI. And this is something that you can see a clear dip, and what you have seen now in July, August is that they have recovered. What is interesting to see here is if we look at where the prices have been in the last couple of years, and this is where I'm hoping for, is that the lithium prices will further develop from where they were, because if I look at 5 years back, you can see that the lithium prices were going through the roof, 570,000 CNI per ton, whereas currently we're talking about 65,000 or 70,000. So that's something maybe we don't see ever coming back again, but I would expect that with over time, that when demand for batteries and lithium further develops, this price will go further up, and that will help AMG Critical Materials significantly. If I look at vanadium, I found another couple of prices on the vanadium price. As you can see that the vanadium price from last year have been going up, and only in August it went slightly down, or slightly went significantly down. If you have any references where I can see better the prices of vanadium, please send the link into the comments. I'm more than happy to take that into account in the following video. The same applies from the lithium prices. If you have a better quote that I should be looking at, then please leave them in the comments. AMG also gives dividend, and they give 20 cents per ordinary share, and that has been communicated on the 30th of July by email to all the investors. So 20 cents per share, and this will be paid on August 15th. So that's nice, extra in the pocket. Obviously you need to take into account the tax rate of 15%, But all in all, every share gives 20 cents, is nicely in the pocket that you can potentially reinvest. So next I would like to go through the stock price of AMG Critical Materials. Currently, AMG Critical Materials is being traded at a price of 24.46. And today is quite a positive day whereby we can see a plus of 4%. We even saw a plus already for 6%, as you can see this nice candle. But so far it's moving downwards, and you can see that it is remaining at 4% for today. So what you can see in the last couple of weeks is that after the earnings, that one was on the 8th of May, it went downwards actually, and then something happened on the on this day, the 26th of June. So what happened on this day? Well, on that day there was a article released from of an analyst review from Deutsche Bank, and Deutsche Bank basically initiated a buy rating, as you can see here on this screenshot, on the 26th of June, saying that AMG Critical Materials stock is a buy, and this was followed up, I believe, by quite some of the institutional investors. You can see the volume went up significantly on that day, and it went up into a nice positive direction. Ever since, you can see the stock basically moving from 21, 22 towards 24, and even testing the 26 at some point in 22nd of July. And after July, it started to go slightly downwards. We had, of course, our earnings on the 30th of August. What happened there on that day? Well, actually, not that much. Rather, the day after, it opened lower. And yeah, what you can still see is that it's trading into a certain bandwidth upwards. I've put these purple lines in there. And what you can also see is that the blue line here is the 50-day moving average. What you can see, it nicely bounced off here, so that's a very good sign. So that's a positive sign that that it's keeping this momentum. It's staying well above the 50-day average. Much more above the 150-day moving average. It's in a certain upward pattern. Where do I see this stock in the next coming months? Well, if they continue doing well, and if they continue ramping up the projects that they become available, I believe this is also highly related, of course, to the prices of vanadium and lithium. But if lithium price recovers further, I believe it would be very likely to see the AMG price in the range of, in the next coming quarter, more towards 27, towards $30. And that means basically that that you would have to, here's in November, would be the next earnings, in this range. So 30 plus would be very likely that this share can further develop in. Obviously, we don't know what happens on the politics and on the policies of what happens across the ocean, but this is something so far, the company is not that well impacted by the tariffs. But nonetheless, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. Do you think this company price will remain 24? Will it drop? Or do you think as well that it has a potential to further develop upwards? Because it has some recovery to do. It used to be in the range of $40, $50 actually. And I believe this is a company that will likely in the next coming quarter be in the range of $30 actually, if it continues to grow in the current momentum. So yeah, that's it from my side. Let me know what you think, and see you on the next one.